as a director, you can create a world figuring out what story is being told in the frame and how that's happening, whether it's the performance, what the emotion is. It's up to you to focus on what's going on in that frame.
Who are you?
If it's the opening of anything, you're really trying to think of something that's going to be striking and establishing what the feeling of the show is. We made this choice to show the claustrophobia of the world, to stay with one shot. The camera's on the table and had it on a remote head so that it could just do a 360 around and follow her around. I felt it really illustrated the dilemma that she was in and put you in the feeling that you were in this world with her.
Let me out of here.
If you can establish from the very beginning that this is going to be a pace that is going to go at a certain speed, then when the pace increases, it feels much more affecting. So if you can figure out a way to do that and still keep people's attention, I think that's what you're aiming for. What we were trying to do was figure out a way to show this transition that really happens internally. And it was not an original idea, but I thought, well, maybe we can do our spin on it. We wanted to be able to allow the background to not change as much so that you really would focus more on what's happening to his face. The change in the focal length actually literally changes the way your face looks because of going from a wider to a longer lens. And then the main element of it is the actor doing the change, going from one reality to another.
One's memories are bifurcated, so when you're not at work, you have no recollection of what it is you do there. Did I get that right, Mark?
Well,
So you walk in at 9 a.m. and then suddenly it's 5 and you're leaving.
well, they stagger us a little.
They
So
And then,
Stagger
conversely,
you.
when
No.
you're at work, you can't access outside memories. So in effect, that version of you is trapped there.
Well,
I mean, not trapped, but
what? No, I'm curious what were you gonna say. But not trapped, but what? What were you gonna say?
Something we had to really think about stylistically was trying to create tension out in the outside world. It was just trying to create as much of a feeling of specificity of the world, the generic nature of the inside world I wanted to also have on the outside world. And the reality is that Mark on the outside world is a lot less happy and is in a darker place than Mark on the inside world. So I thought it was important to try to show his world being colder, and it was really trying to show the isolation that he was feeling in the outie world. And I think in his apartment, there's just something that's really, really sad about that kind of environment because it's very transient and Mark's not really settled in his new life post Gemma. Then the choices became really important of what you actually see in there and what you don't. It's almost is more personal in a way, filming him in that space because it's more subjective. And because I think of the rules at Lumen inside there, we're trying to stay very objective a lot of the time. And then with Devin, finding a place with visual style still within this stark world that we've created, but there's a little bit more warmth there. The lighting's kind of stark, but there's wood and there's sweaters and there's texture and the race car bed, a little bit of humor too. And hopefully set something up for people that they're like, oh, wow, I'm feeling something. I'm in a world, transported into this place.
Radical minimalism was our friend on this show. Sometimes playing a couple of piano notes and letting them ring out was really doing all the work that needed to be done. Ben and I had been talking about maybe doing 2 different musical worlds, for the innies and the outies. Cold and electronic for the innies and warmer and more organic for the outies. But I wrote this electronic piece that had this middle section that Ben kind of responded to. And he sort of kept on coming back to that part. So I sat down at the piano and I started playing the chord progression. And it just came out exactly as the main title of the show. It revealed a different path where instead of an innie world and an outie world, the music could just play the whole canvas of the show as one great big mystery. I think that the distortion effects really came out of the end of the main title music. It's just a piano note, a reversed piano note. I chopped out little bits of audio as it grew. So it has this sort of glitchy, stuttery effect, and it also grows more distorted as it goes. This theme is piano-based. I'm taking the piano, and now I'm fraying it out. I wanted to play with the idea of, like, the fraying of the self, which I think is so present in the show. Once we had come up with that sound, it ended up, particularly in places like where Petey is starting to kind of lose his bearings of what is his memory and what is happening on the outside.
Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna go.
Do it.
See you soon.
There's a variation on the theme that we link with Helly, starting with the end of episode 4 when she is moving towards attempting suicide. It underlines something I think interesting about the character. Instead of just playing the ratcheting tension of the scene, it plays her emotional pain. It plays something that's not necessarily on the screen, but that's clearly there. It's like it starts out playing the chords of the main theme, but then it kind of goes somewhere else.
Hey, how are you?
We ended up
Seems like you're
staying with that for Helly throughout the season, and it's really effective for her.
cool.
I often have the inclination to expand the language to get away from the main idea, and sticking with one thematic idea and then just developing it and pulling it apart, that can take you further.
What?
I definitely learned that if you are continuing to evolve the material, you can spin it out for a long time and continue the feeling that the story is unspooling.
I love as a designer to always try and infer as much of the story, not relying on the dialogue or the actors to always tell the story. The design can tell the story. It's not just a backdrop, it's how does it make you feel when you watch it. We were adamant that this show didn't look like anything else. This should be our own world. Anything underground has to be our own Severance reality. They're playing with these people. They're experimenting with them. They're basically children that are birthed into the boardroom table. They design everything themselves so that you couldn't escape and explain anything. Once you had the license to design everything on our own, everything starts to become not purchased and not in everybody's psyche that they've seen it before. They know it's a desk, but they're like, I've never seen that. And I've never seen it work like that. Let's design computers that no one really works on. Let's give them a trackball again. We tried to make it every way that it's plausible, that everything functions and works the way you'd expect technology to now, but it didn't look right. It starts to displace everybody a little bit that I know what it is, but I haven't seen it. That was the key to making the underground what it is.
Oh God, a 4.
Don't fuck around. I told you, you'll understand when you see it, so just be patient.
What even are these numbers? Like, do we even know what we're supposedly cleaning?
I think the simplicity of it is what most people like about the show. And simple to me is always the hardest. It has to be the exact right thing. The surface, the texture, the color. Like we tested 28 whites on camera tests to get the right white. And it's just because of how it makes you feel. The blues and the greens were kind of going to be our severed world. And then the only color that ever gets introduced is usually Helly. And it's completely off-putting and it shakes up the whole space. Up above would be more browns and yellows and warmer colors to get the contrast of the inside-outside world.
Oh, hi.
Hey,
Oh, Mark, I'm sorry for the racket. I'm just de-icing my stew.
It's all corporate housing. It's like Lumen housing. What I loved was the fact that it's up on a hill, had a view of the background where you could put in Lumen. He'd always be surrounded and always be reminded of this town and be a part of it. And it also felt really fractured. Everything is intentionally designed to fake you into something. It's not really that pleasing. It's really subliminal. You feel it. You know that it's interesting to look at, but it's also broken. Like the place is weird.
Come now, children of my industry, and know the children of my blood.
Whoa.
They're pharmaceutical, which means they have buckets of money. So anything they want to do has got to be pretty spectacular, and they will invest in themselves. And I'm like, wait, what if they recreated this underground? Because everything they're doing is hidden from the world. It's unsettling. And it's all about playing with scale. Scale is everything in film. How does scale make people feel something? When you come out of the elevator and you go left down the first hallway, it's a single person hallway. And as they wander through the hallways, they get wider and wider. And the farthest they go, they're quite wide, enough that all actors could be side by side. You feel them coming closer together and they become a team. For us, it had to be its own visual world. We didn't know it was going to work till it was almost done. It works. People love it.